In this list we're using the AR for the R sound, and you've previously learnt that the A can make the R sound as in fast, last, etc. and AL can also make the R sound as in half, calf, and another small list of words. So we've got calf, cartoon, garbage, cardboard, cardigan, apartment and argument. You've already learnt some simpler words with the AR in them. These are just getting into longer, harder words. Then we've got the ENCE, E-N-C-E, conference, emergence and adherence. Now the ENT or ENCE has a bit of a schwat sound in it, so just remember that these four letters are making the ENT sound in these words. Now let's go through and look at other things. The only reason carve has an E on the end is because English words can't end in V. Cartoon, we've got that long oo sound too. Garbage, because English words can't end in J, we put GE at the end of them. This is another R controlled vowel for the OR sound, O-A-R. Cardigan, you can look that word up in the dictionary because there's a really interesting history as to how we came about the word cardigan for a piece of clothing. I don't think there's much else in here. You've got an ER in conference and emergence, and once again you've got the GE making that G make it soft sound in there, and adherence, you've got an ER in there as well for the R controlled vowel. Okay, let's go back and look at what these words mean. So carve means to cut meat or carve something into a pumpkin or into wood to make a shape. A cartoon are moving pictures. Garbage, of course, is just rubbish. Cardboard is like a very thick form of paper. A cardigan is a garment to give warmth, and it usually has an opening down the front of it, down the centre front. Apartment is a flat or a place to live, and there's usually many of them all in the one building. An argument is a heated disagreement, and a conference is a formal meeting over a shared idea where quite a few people get together to discuss something. Emergence is the process of appearing or surfacing, just like this little chick is emerging from the shell. And adherence is a commitment or a following of ideas of a person and or a belief, and it can also mean to keep a date or keep to a date or a deadline. In these words we're using the AR for the R sound in carve, cartoon, garbage, cardboard, cardigan, apartment and argument. Then we're using also the ENT on the ends of apartment and argument as a suffix. And then we've got the suffix ence on the end of conference, emergence and adherence. So in this section here you have to rewrite the word and then match it or link it to its meaning. I'd suggest you use different colours for each of those links. Down here you're simply filling the gap with a list word. Down here you have to look for the antonym, so what is the word that means the opposite to disappearance and contradiction, and it will be a list word of course, and write the list words with its synonym, so you've got to find the word that means the same as each of these given words. Down here we're looking for common word pairs, so we're looking for you to find a word that would commonly go with box. It has to be a list word, etc. The other hints are there for you. And the very bottom one says fill in the gap to complete the expression. This is a common saying that you'll often hear, so work out which word from above, from the list above, would best fit that space. In this list we've got the AR making the R sound in carve, cartoon, garbage, cardboard, cardigan, apartment and argument. We've got the ENT on the end of apartment, argument, and then we're going for the ENCE, ence, on the end of conference, emergence and adherence. So you can highlight each of those phonograms in those words. Don't forget carve. The only reason we have an E on the end of carve is because English words can't end in V. Cartoon, you've got the long oo sound there. Garbage, you've got the E doing two jobs. It's making the A make a long sound, and it's also making the G make its soft sound J, because we can't use J's at the end of English words. Board, you've got the OR sound, the R controlled vowel O-A-R. cardigan, it's pretty easy. Apartment, you've got that suffix added to the end of it. You know this A should be a long sound because there's only one P after it. Argument, conference, fur is the base word there. Emergence, you've got the E making a long sound because there's only one M after it, and you've got the R controlled vowel ER in there. Adherence, you've got that ER in there too, the R controlled vowel. Now down in this section you just have to simply form these words into plural nouns. Just be careful on garbage. Write the base word for the list word and use each in a sentence, so you've got to take these back to their base word. Make the new word, then use it in a sentence, so you've got emergency and argumentative. Down here, now you've got verb families, so you're going to have to find the base words for many of these, then you're simply adding the S. Now here, when you're adding the ing, don't forget E goes away when in comes to stay. Now on confer and on confer especially, you've got the double R, conferring, so just be aware of that there. And on argues, argue, argues, arguing, don't forget that E goes away. Now if you've already got an E on the end of argue and you've got to add ED, you only need to add the D because the E's already there. Fill in the gap word with the list word or extension, that should be quite easy for you. So just check each other's answers to make sure that you're completing those correctly. On this day 4, we're looking at words that end with ant or ent or ants or ents. So there's a rule alert here. Ents usually follow words that end in ER, GE or ERE. And ants usually follow words that end in EAR, URE, a Y making the IT sound, T, a D or a B. So fill in the gaps with either ants or ents, then rewrite the word under the correct heading. So you've got to go through and see which one you think. Unfortunately, quite often we give a schwa ending to these words, but if you do try to say them correctly, pronounce the words correctly, then you should find this easier to do. So perform ants, and you'd have to write the ants in there and then write it under the correct heading here, so it'll be written there. Circle the one correct answer. Words ending with ants or ents are they usually verbs, adjectives, nouns or adverbs. You have to circle which one you think they fall. So down the bottom, we're looking at ant or ent. So fill in the gaps with either ant or ent, then rewrite the words under the correct heading, same as we did above. So document, if you hear the ent, you'd write it in here, and then you're going to write it under the heading for ent. So you have to go through and think carefully about how you say these words and which one would fit each word. Then down the bottom, we're doing the same thing again. Circle the two correct answers. Words ending with ant or ent are generally verbs, adjectives, nouns or adverbs. You've got to pick two of those this time. Then down here we want you to write two sentences using as many ants, ents, ant or ent words as you can. So you've got a whole selection here and up here that you can choose from.